Yeah, but family still call me Coco. That name will never go away. And it's like, I don't want my new friends to be calling me that. So don't call me that.
I hear you because my nieces and nephew, I mean, they're grown up, but they always call me Niecey, Aunt
Uh-huh.
Niecey, and they still call me that. It's endearing, so I don't force you. You have to call me Auntie Feather, like forget it. But anyhow,
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sort of like that too. And so people be like, I think yesterday we were on a call and somebody came back and said, Coco, I think that was Royal that did that. I don't know. But that was kind of funny. I was like, "Ah, you've been talking to my cousin." So I know exactly where that came from.
yeah. And speaking of names, so like when I called my book "Once Upon a Solar Time," I did a I did a check in Amazon and different sites or whatever. Has anybody made that title? Because you never, you don't want to have the same title as somebody else.
Right.
And when I found nobody did, it resonated with me as a name for my book for the longest time, because this is a long project. This book took me a long time to write. I used to call it a novel project because it was like a project to write the
Oh
novel.
my God.
But it's not a great name. So Once Upon a Solar Time became the name that I only discovered that in last year, 2022, because the book was finally published in December 20th, 2022. But it
Uh-huh.
had taken me, Cami, and I admit this no longer with shame or shyness. Took me 45 years to write it.
Yeah. I can believe you. I can believe you because you wouldn't know a good man if you saw one. That was a story that took me probably 8 years to complete. I ended up doing a stage play first, um, before I actually put it out there as a book.
Yeah,
I converted it to the stage play, then back to the book.
and then back to the
Now I
book.
got to turn it into a screenplay, and still haven't done that part yet.
Yeah, because you probably do. You're probably a multitasker like me, and we do so many things. And I mean, I could give you tons of excuses why I never got it published on time. But I got it published. I mean, it did it when I did it. I finally finished it. There's an article that's out in a magazine. A wonderful friend of mine, Esther Austin. It's called her magazine is called Turning Point, Your
Hmm.
Lifestyle, Your Wellness magazine. And I wrote it, it's called I Am a Woman, I Am an Auntie, I'm an Author. And in that article, I explained that for me, writing the book was not giving up on a dream, and how important it is, no matter what age you are, to, for me, it's important to not give up on dreams. Like these were seeds that were planted, and I believed enough in myself over time. I took those writings all the way to Asia, like files that I still have on my floor, like typed, written, the first versions of my book, and I took those all the way to Asia and left them in the closet. But I would kind of, when I meet new people and they say, well, "What do you do?" and I'd always somehow tell them I was writing a book. But I kind of thought that I was lying on, so I was bragging, I was lying because I wasn't really working on it.
Yeah.
But it was still there. It was always this dangling creative jewel that I needed to, you know, take and polish. And
But my theory on that, right? My theory is you had to keep bragging about it. You had to keep talking about it in order to keep it manifesting. So even though you're busy and you're doing this and you're doing that and you're doing this, you still have that. And so, yeah, I'm still working on a book. I have 5 books that's waiting on me to finish.
wow,
5 books is waiting to be completed. But I do know the title of each one of those books. I know where I left off at. So at the end of the day, if you don't keep them in your limelight, they're just going to disappear. So you have to keep saying that. You got to keep manifesting it to life.
yeah, and it's like saying, when you speak it, it's asking it to come into being.
Mhm.
You know what? If I say, "Oh, I'm going to tell a friend I'm going to start drinking more water," for example, well, then I've just spoken something that I need to honor.
Yes.
So and many times it might, I have many people follow me, so to speak, with, "Are you finished that book? I remember you telling me you were writing a book, and those little nudges were good reminders to
Yes, absolutely.
and
Absolutely. And it's a good way to do that too is you ask Alexa to do it for you. So I ask Alexa to remind me to drink water every hour on the hour.
wow,
And when I'm at home, guess what? I get that all night long. If I wake up in the middle of the night and Alexa will 2 o'clock in the morning remind me to drink a glass of water.
wow,
Because
smart.
yeah, it's because I don't drink water. If it's not in front of me, I am not going to drink it. So
Yeah,
I have to keep it going to drink water. I'll
yeah,
drink a cold drink. I'll drink some tea. I'll drink some juice. I'll drink, milk. I'll drink anything but water. And so I have to have that reminder to always drink water.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
So one other thing, or there's many things, but with the book, these two beautiful girls, they were actually students of mine in my drama club where I locally live now. I started working with this girl on the left. Her name is
mhm.
Emily. When she was 8 years old, and
Oh
then
wow.
her little sister joined about a year later, and she was only 6, I think. And at that time, I wasn't. I was having the age group between 7 and 12, but I
Mhm.
allowed her in because it was family, whatever. And they stayed with me in my drama club for 5 years doing different shows. So when I came back after the pandemic, I had to go to Ontario and take care of my mom. And when I came back, and I'm going to do this book. I asked the parent, the mother, if I could, if the young girls, now they're 16 and 14, would be able to be on the cover of my book, and they were thrilled to participate.
Oh,
Um,
wonderful.
yeah,
Wonderful.
because the main characters are 14-year-old girls, and they look. I mean, they're beautiful girls. They
Right.
look about that age. So, and I helped design the book. With the Friesen Press, I was able to give them suggestions of what I wanted, and took a number of different tries, but eventually they came up with what I think is a very pleasing book cover.
Wow. So let me ask you this, as far as writing your book, what was your aha moment when you first got your book published?
What was my aha moment when?
You got your book published.
Um, yeah, there was definitely a sense of relief,
Mhm.
but it 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 went hand in hand with feeling that a part of me had died. So like I had a huge postmortem after the book because there was so much creativity that went into it. But after, like, there was, I didn't have that same pulse going through me to
Mhm.
finish it. But I did have, maybe I could go back to something of an aha moment inside the book when I was coming to the end of the book, and I'm not going to give it away, but when I was coming to the end of the book, I was making some connection with research online, and I wanted the book to have sort of a very spacious ending, and I
Mhm.
wanted an image to go with it. And okay, long story short, I guess I could say I was searching, and went into the NASA, United States NASA site,
Mhm.
and I had the idea of how it should end, and then I was looking at pictures to kind of stimulate me. I
Mhm.
think this is making sense. And I turned a page, and there was an image of a rocket ship with a feather on it.
Oh no. Are you kidding
I'm
me?
kidding. And I'm not kidding. And that was an aha moment, a whole bunch of chills.
Uh-huh.
And I
That's
went,
amazing.
I know this is the ending of where the characters have to go in the book. Um, so like next chapter, and it was kind of it's hard to describe because it was so present. So, but then I picked this photo that I liked because it had blues and purples in it, and these were the colors of the girls. The particular girls were indigo
Mhm.
and lilac. These were the colors that they liked, or that were part of their energy field. And it took me about 2.5 months after I tried to get in touch with the photographer or the designer of that photo, and he
Uh-huh.
did work for NASA. And I tried different ways. I called there. I wrote a letter. Da da da. And then one day I just said, "Oh, maybe he's on Facebook." So I found him on Facebook, and I wrote, "Can I have permission to use this photograph in my book?" And he was like, "No problem. It's a public photo. You can use it, and all the best to what you're doing." So it was just those kind of steps. When you
Yeah.
follow,
Yeah,
Tammy,
absolutely.
when you follow your intuition, it just it serves. Huh?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so tell people how they can purchase that book.
Well, Once Upon a Solar Time is available on Amazon. It's available on Kindle, like Amazon Kindle books. It's also available on with Barnes and Noble. You can buy it as a hardcover, softcover, or um, an e-reader book. And
Mm-hmm.
also, it's through Friesen Press. This is the press I have got it published with, which is a
Mm-hmm.
Canadian publisher. And if somebody wanted a signed copy, I still have a few I still have a few that I could sign and post it to them directly if they wanted a signed copy of either a hardcover or a soft cover.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I want you to be part of our network. We do have Arthur's Network on Facebook.
Wonderful.
It's SKST. What is it? SKST Arthur's Network. That's what it is. SKST Arthur's Network. So please join that. We are going to build that network and help other networks grow. And so
Sure.
we cross post, we share, where our books are, we share our book covers, we share all kinds of things, and we invite one another to different readings, podcasts, all kinds of things like that. Whatever it takes to get the author's information out there, that's what we're here to do. And so we would love for you to be a part of the Authors Network. And as we go into our new season, the first part of the season, we highlight the authors. We highlight the authors for like about 3 months. So we have nothing like, instead of like what we're doing for the business network, we do the
Yeah.
same thing for the authors network. Nothing but authors. Authors come out and they talk about illustrators, things like that, people who need to know you and you need to know them type thing. And so, well, we would love for you to be a part of that.
Wow.
And
Thank you, Tammy.
yeah, absolutely. And then before we end the show, we want you to give us some words of wisdom.
Words of wisdom. Well, I guess I could quote something I wrote in this article for the Turning Point magazine, and I would suggest you look up Esther Austin. She's an awesome woman who's doing many things out of UK, um, many things with musicians in
Okay.
particular. Yeah, I can send you a link. But
Thank you.
yeah, so one thing I wrote in the book in that article was I said children naturally no, what do I want to say? Yeah, wandering through the infinite landscapes of children's imagination has created in me a vast respect for the phrase, anything is possible if you put your mind to it. So, with that kind of sense of wonder, because I never had a child, so
Mhm.
I am loving that I can still be childlike even at my tender age. But
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And that phrase is like one of the phrases that really got me going, because I'm a dreamer and I am one of those people. If I say I'm going to do it, I usually do it. You know,
yeah,
I'm not a person that's going to give up easy, and that started as a child with that same phrase instilled in me. So if you put your mind to it, you can do it. You
you
know,
can do it. It reminds me, Cami, of when I was in grade 3, my first speech, and I won third prize. I wrote a speech about Martin Luther King. I have a dream,
oh wow, that is
and
so cool.
it's probably some kind of seeding way back then. And I
Mhm,
had
mhm.
how did I know the dream I had back then at 8 years old?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you think about it,